What's up, everybody? This is Marvin again with the stock market plan. Going to look at today at Genmab. Genmab is a stock that it is sporting a nice pattern on the technicals, and we're looking at it right here, right now, where we set a high here, then we come back, we set a new high here, come back down, and we come back with gusto during this recovery. The company itself is company from Denmark. It's based in Denmark. They develop therapeutics, antibody therapeutics for treatment of cancer and other diseases. And I think it's worth a look. When I first looked at this company, the first thing I noticed is that it likes to buck the trend, right? I speak to you all the time about the spiders, right? The S&P 500 representing the overall market movement, and 75% of stocks moving that way. Well, this one said, forget that. I'm going to move my own way. When we zoom in here at the latest action, you notice from the bottom of the market in March 16th, this thing has come up handsomely. It has, I pay particular attention to the volume patterns here, okay, where the up days, you see this pattern here, high volume, right? Calmed down a little bit, then it picked up some more, came back down, lower volume, right? Settled down a little bit, high volume, moving up, right? Settle down a little bit, high volume, high volume, high volume, settle down, and then right here it just starts to pick up and the volume increasing, right? The big players getting involved. Always talk to you about the big players, those being institutions. They're the ones that move markets. And now we settle down, and on Friday, May 1st, it does this. And we all know now what the market did on Friday. It moved down to sideways, and this thing said, forget it, I'm going to move my own way. And these are the kind of things that I look at when companies leaders behave this way. And this company is a leader in the group. It's one of the top stocks in the group. It sports a very nice relative strength rating of 94. So, it's moving up here in good fashion. So whenever I see an opportunity like this emerge, then I start getting busy drawing my trend lines and my exit levels, both on the top side and the downside, right? The downside being the most important, right? I don't take big losses. So what we got here is, because these are growth type stocks, right? I mean, this is like, if this stock moves, it's going to move hard one way or the other. And the last thing I want to be holding is a stock down 25%. It makes no sense. So, live to fight another day, right? So I'm looking for 10, 20% runs out of patterns like this. So if I have enough 10 or 20% runs and I have small losses of 8%, you do the math, right? Doing this thing on a long-term basis, I cannot concern myself with, this particular stock, this particular play. It doesn't work like that. You got to look at this thing, I'm going to be doing this thing for a long time. I have been doing it for a very long time, well over 2 decades, and, I'm probably going to do it for 3 more decades, God willing. So, we got to look at this thing in totality. We can't just go ahead and just, emphasize, oh, this is a stock that's going to make me. Well, it doesn't work that way. I try to look at opportunities. There will be many. Some will turn out to be great. Some will not. But the ones that will not, I keep them small losses, right? So let's go ahead and look at the chart here. I got the lines drawn now, right? So the last line in the sand is a close below the 200-day moving average price, whatever that is at the time. I mean, luckily for me, the 50-day right here and the 200 are riding together. Typically, I would use the 50-day first and then the 200, but since they're together right now, I'm just going to put it right below the 200-day moving average, right? That's what I would do here. So, the 50-day is roughly around 21.87. The 200-day is 21.36. No big change there. So I'm going to say, you know what? If it trades under the 50, I'm going to let her go and just use the 200-day moving average. That's why I wrote down here. Last line in the sand, a close below. A close, remember, everything is on the close, based on the close. Can trade over and under these levels, it doesn't matter to me. It has to close below or over these levels. So last line in the sand, I closed below the 200-day moving average. Great. Now, let's go ahead and move up. Here's my 8% loss, right? 23.39. It's an 8% loss. First potential sell, stop, level, right? For me, this is usually where I would get out completely out of the position. And now these prices are based off my entry pivot of 25.42. I close above this. Pivot point is 25.42. I close above this level, potential buy signal, right? Then I have my maximum buy point of 26.69. So here's my buy window, right? So I don't have to be like right on it. You know, it just has to be somewhere in here. Then on the top side, I would be looking to take a 10% profit depending on what markets are doing. I mean, if the S&P 500 is, you know, a raging bull, I'm going to have to think about it. And I'm looking at things like internals and things like that, you know, during the day, how that stock is trading that day. What is the group doing? What's the stock doing? What are the market internals doing? I look at the VIX, right? The volatility index. What is the risk like? Is it high? Is it low in the market? We haven't gotten into this yet, you know, looking at the markets in depth, but I would be looking at the advanced decline lines. We'll get into that later. You know, I like to look at the New York Stock Exchange tick, up down volume. That's a graph that you can plot where it shows you how many stocks are going up versus down in the measure of volume. So how many shares traded for stocks going up, how many shares traded for stocks going down, and that's a ratio called up and down volume. Very important, right? We've already discussed how important volume is, right? So I have here 25.42 close above this level, right? It's a potential buy signal. Maximum buy point 26.69. I would not buy over this level right here. That's what I call missing the move, right? I would just be like, you know, get mad. So, you know, if this turns out like the way I think it's going to turn out, well, you know, this thing will start climbing, right? Get to 10% from that 25.42 pivot is 27.96 right here. Depending on what the market was doing, again, I would be thinking maybe I need to sell some shares here, maybe half of my position, my total position in the stock, right? So what would that look like? Example, if I had 200 shares of this, maybe I would say, you know, sell 100, right? And at that juncture, you're playing with house money. So this sell stop here gets moved up, right? It gets moved up because I'm already in the game, right? I'm already making money, playing with the house money. Let this thing run. And I would just trail that stop as it went up. Now, when it gets a 20% secondary profit taking, actually I should write, you know, get out, you know, because that's, for me, that's where I have seen, you know, stocks turn. Again, these exit points, you have to look at the market. What is the market doing? What is the group that the stock is in? What is it doing? What are the peers doing? So this is, again, what I look at, how I do it. You got to come up with your own system if you want. Maybe use this as a guide. But the main theme here is that stocks don't go up forever, right? So I have to trade these things. I have to lock in gains. And, you know, if I'm sitting here at 10%, maybe I'll lock a little bit in, right? Let the other half run. A mistake that I usually see investors make is they get to 10%, they sell the whole thing, and there was never any signs of the market rolling over, the overall market, right? Which would indicate that more than likely this thing would roll over as well. And we saw that with ENTG, with Integris. Last week, at the end of last week, the market gapped down, got below the pivot point, and you know, it just never met it again. Now, will it going forward? Probably, maybe. So, you know, we just have to wait and see. You know, the whole thesis here is that this is a plan, right? There's a plan here that I'm going to execute, right? And this is what I can control. And you have to come up with your own plan. I don't know what that is, but maybe, you know, you use something like this as a guide to, you know, these price points are my price points, but I have something in mind. The 10%, 20%, that's something that's always worked out for me. The best I can remember, you know, using the 10% rule here on the top side and the 20% has worked out really well for me. Okay? Everybody's financial situation is different. You have to come up with your own. This just happens to work for me, right? And the same with the pivot points. I mean, all of these. It's just stuff that I've traded over the years, and it's worked well. With stocks like this, these are growth stocks. I like to invest in growth stocks. I don't like to invest in GM. I don't like to invest in Ford. I don't like to invest in these old, behemoth companies that, it's just to get them to, yeah, they pay a nice dividend, but, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in price gain. That's just me. To each his own, right? But with these growth stocks, you have to trade them because they move sharply. They move quick. I mean, look at this move right here. It's, it's a very, very sharp move, and it can do that on the downside too, like right here. Now, granted, this is virus related, but, it can. So, this is what I look at. This is how I come up with these numbers, the 10, 20%. Maximum loss that I ever take, usually it's 8% loss. But if I'm feeling like the market is doing well during this time, maybe I'll sell half here and keep the other half. But definitely last line in the sand, I'm completely out of here. There's no support levels down here. I mean, this has not created, maybe right here, but I mean, it's so sharp that there's nothing really established here. You like to see a couple of points before you can strike a line. It's just a straight up wedge, right? So, I wanted to show you that. These are, again, another stock that I'm looking at. Do your own homework. This is not a recommendation to buy or sell the stock. It's just showing you what I do. And hopefully through this exercise, you can start thinking this way too. Again, these stocks are meant to be traded. That's why you have a buy button and a sell button. It's not you just buy and, I use this scenario with the kid that told me the other day, buy Bitcoin. It's going to go up 500. I asked him, what if it goes up to 2,000? What do you do? He had no answer. And that's not a place you want to be. You want to have something in place. If I get up here and I sell 10%, I sell some, I put my sell stop here now, right? Because I've locked in gains. I don't want them to go away on my other half. Right, my other 100 shares, taking the scenario of 200 shares, right? Same thing here. This thing might come down and sell stop me. Might trigger my stop price, get me out, and go up another 10%. I cannot be mad. I just made 10 to 20% returns. You cannot be mad at that. I cannot be mad at that. I mean, it's just ridiculous. These things are meant to be traded, meant to be locked in, whatever gains, and move on to the next play. Maybe it revisits and there's another entry point later down the road, but that's happened before. I make 10, 20% on the stock and it goes up another 15, 20. Well, okay. So be it. So, just wanted to show you this. This is another play here I'm looking at. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can get these when I put them up. Comment, share, okay? I really appreciate it. Help this thing keep going. All right, guys. Have a great one. Have a great rest of your weekend. And can't wait for the market to open on Monday. Itching. Have a great one, everybody. Have a great weekend.